Welcome back to Discipleship Interviews. Collier's laughing because I just messed up his name, but I'm speaking with Collier Winters today, a new partner in the gospel, brother in the Lord up here in the Northwest. And I'm super excited to talk with him because he comes from outside of the Northwest, so he can bring outside perspective, but he also has the challenging task of planting the gospel in a new culture. And it's a culture, even though I've grown up in the Northwest, I'm still trying to figure out.
Mm.
So I can't wait to talk with him about that. Collier, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for talking today.
Of course, man. Thanks, Joey. I'm excited to be able to talk, and I love enjoy really talking about disciples and campus ministry and church building and all that. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. After I heard of Collier and that he was moving here, I actually read about him in this book, The Mission, that just came out and is published, and collection of stories from millennials furthering the mission in our movement. And Collier's in there and shares a powerful testimony. So just a plug to go and buy that book. And man, I'm so grateful that now you are here in Boise and serving the
Right, right,
Lord.
right.
But
Yeah. So
what brought you and Jenna from
the
Boston
journey to
here?
Boise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we filled a bunch of different roles in Boston. We worked with youth and family. We did campus. We did young professionals and kind of a mixture of all those things at different times and different reasons. In different regions. And so we got let go from one of our positions, and we were at that point. Jenny was pregnant, and we were about to have our daughter Peyton. And so we were trying to explore and look around and figure out like where's a good fit for us. Where's a place where we can go and feel like we can really have continue to have impact for God's kingdom, and helping to build. But Chris Clausen, who's a brother here and has served a bunch of different roles in the church, he initially reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're looking to hire some campus ministers here in Boise. Would you be interested?" And at that point, we were totally just trying to keep all of our options open. And so I said, "Sure, let's talk some more." And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, "Oh, we'll never go to Boise. Why would we go to Boise?" But uh, but I think over time, like meeting Frank and Julie Williams here, who lead the church, meeting the Clausens, seeing the people here, and what Frank was building. The leadership here, the health of the church. I think even the idea of it being a small church and needing help, right? That all those things I think really started to draw our hearts to Boise. And for me, the challenge of starting a campus ministry, building from zero, from scratch, and being able to well, I guess praying for God to use us to build something here at Boise State. That to me is a really exciting challenge. Hard thing to take on, especially with two little kids. But that was also, I think, the challenge of that drew us here, and so we've been. I mean, I don't think we could have landed in a better place. We're so happy to be here in Boise and to be on campus at Boise State. So it's been really great.
It's a valuable campus ministry there that has sent so many into the mission field and
It
churches all
has.
over. So now you're restarting that from scratch,
Yeah.
from zero. What do you think the culture is like there and the opportunities that you've observed so
Sure. Yeah. I
far?
mean, we now that we're here, we understand why people are moving to Boise. It's really a hidden gem, and we love it here. And Boise State, like you said, I mean, historically, the church it's been a really fruitful place, a place that sent out a lot of leaders and people all over. And Chris Clausen, who I mentioned, they used to lead the Boise State campus ministry back in the day at different points, and so having them as a resource is really valuable. Just learning from them and trying to understand the Boise State culture and obviously their football program, the Blue Turf. That's a big highlight. It's a big part of their culture and how people know them. But it's been really, I mean, yeah, it's been really great. It's a great campus. It's a college campus, so you're going to have the typical college things going on and parties and people just living life and figuring out life. And I think the students have been different than Boston, probably. Very friendly, they're very open to having conversation about spiritual things, and so it's been great having a lot of different, really great conversations with students. I would say that maybe the downside of friendliness is you kind of get your hopes up sometimes of someone expressing interest in the gospel, and then they don't really text you back or or follow up. They're just kind of being more friendly than they are genuine. And so those are some of the challenges. Um, but it is people are students at any college. Uh, think of themselves as busy. They there's so many opportunities in college, and they're chasing after different things. And so I think right now, as we're starting to build the ministry here, is just looking for guys, and for my wife, looking for women who really want to seek God with all their heart. Really want to invest their time into their faith, their relationship with God, and um, prioritize that above all the other things they could be spending their time doing.
So what are some strategies that you and Frank are working on there in Boise to plant that seed of
Yeah.
the gospel?
So, like we talk about scattering seeds, a verse for me that comes to mind is we plant in water and God makes it grow. And even the term, right, making disciples, I don't want to get too technical or hung up on words, but at this point, I used to I talk a lot about making disciples. Got to go make disciples, make disciples. Obviously, that's a lot of what the church was built on, making disciples. And I think the heart of that is, hey, we want to go and preach the gospel is great. But for me, I've really been humbled, and I think come to a different place to think like I can't make a disciple. I can offer people the gospel. I can share with them who Jesus is and kind of what the response that he calls them, the life he calls them to live. But I don't have the power to make someone into a disciple. And that's God's work. That's his word, that's his spirit working in someone's heart in their life. And so that's just given me a really different perspective on what I'm doing. I used to get really, really frustrated and even discouraged that like I would share with so many people or study the Bible with so many people, and then they wouldn't become Christians. And I could feel like, man, I'm not good at studying the Bible with people, or I'm not doing a good enough job so that people become disciples. And that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of burden on me. That's just not it's not accurate, right? It's if we offer the gospel to people, then that's our job. How they respond to it, and how God works in their life. That's God's work. And so we pray, prayer and ministry of the word, right? We pray, we share the gospel, and then let God be the one who works in a person's life, and not put that burden on ourselves. And so that for me, that takes a lot of pressure off. That gives me a lot of freedom. Like, hey, man, I'm just going to persevere in scattering these seeds, and and God's gonna work through that. Really believing that. As far as like coming out of COVID and being rusty, as far as sharing our faith, I think I see evangelism as it's just like working out. If you stop working out for a while, for a long time, it's hard to get back in the gym and and like be consistent with that. You really gotta work at it to build that habit back up, and you got to work to kind of regain the strength that you lost. So for me, anytime I kind of take a break from really being consistent and sharing my faith, and uh, it can take a little bit to kind of get going again. And even now, like even if I'm doing it daily, as I'm trying to here on campus, um, it could take a little while at the beginning to like open my mouth and start sharing with people. There'll be a few people that walk by that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna share with them, and then I chicken out, or I don't quite have the courage to initiate a conversation. Um, but then once I break the ice and talk to one person, then you kind of settle in, and it gets easier to talk to more and more people. And so, yeah, man, I don't know any way around it. I still feel like every time I'm out there, I need to muster up the courage and pray for courage, asking God for the courage to open your mouth and continuing to do it. Just put yourself out there. So, yeah, I think having people with you, having people come along with
Yeah.
you is really helpful too. That gives you courage when you have someone next to you, and you're not just kind of doing it on yourself, all alone.
That's so good. You mentioned working out, like got to get that muscle stretched again, and makes me think of work out your salvation, for it is God who works within you. And one thing we've been talking about in the Bend Church is not doing the work of God without the heart of God, which I've done in my past. I've made evangelism my functional Lord, and we've been looking at Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you." My heart is humble and gentle of heart. So, man, are we do we have that heart, or are we evangelizing, making disciples without this humble and gentle heart and spirit? Are we showing them that Jesus? And it's a challenge. Perhaps even more difficult than making a disciple to
Yeah,
take on
no,
that
it is
heart.
absolutely. I think I always have to, through prayer, just in conversations with people like Frank and people in my life, just really check that I'm not trying to build a great ministry to be like the leader of a great ministry here. I'm really wanting to affect people's lives, change people's hearts, and thinking about them, and who they are as a person and their soul, rather than just I'm trying to build up a lot of numbers and have this impressive campus ministry.
Let me ask you, what's your go-to uh, line with evangelism on campus? How do you spark a
Sure, that's a
conversation
good
with
question,
somebody?
and I actually think a good amount about that. Um, so I actually, to be honest, I tried different things. As I've been on campus, I tried different opening lines, if you want to say, and and kind of see what works. Just thinking about, like, how can I initiate a conversation with somebody that's gonna spark more conversation. I think in the past I've kind of just relegated to, hey, you want to come to Bible talk? And that's kind of it. But I think now I'm really trying to have more conversation with people to try to get to their heart, to try to open them up. And I think, I see Jesus doing that. He wasn't just going around saying, hey, come to my discussion tonight. He was trying to have conversations about life with people and lead them to him. But so for me, I mean, one of the ways I try to initiate conversation right now, since we're where we're at in our campus ministry, is like, hey, excuse me, man, I'm a campus minister here at Boise State. I'm going around meeting guys, talking to the guys, trying to find guys who want to grow in their faith, or learn about Jesus, learn about the gospel. Is that something you'd be interested in at all? And sometimes we'll get guys who respond to that and say, "Yeah, I've been looking for that. Let's talk some more." And a lot of times we'll get guys who say, "Well, I'm not sure," and I'll try to follow up with more questions. Did you have any kind of faith or spiritual background, or what do you believe about this or that? And just try to try to figure out where they're at with some questions, and see if I can maybe get them to change their mind a little bit, or at least kind of see, oh, maybe this is something I would want to come check out, even if they maybe seem a little bit closed off, at the beginning of the conversation. So, and again, I can sometimes walk away if somebody says no. I can walk away feeling like, man, if I had have said this or that, or asked a different question, maybe they would have responded differently. But that goes back to just, hey, I'm just trying to allow God to work. It's not up to me saying the perfect words or asking the perfect question that's going to make them interested. I'm just trying to give opportunities for people to, seek after God, and allow God to draw people to Himself, to Jesus. So
You don't just say, "Hey, put my number in your phone and give me a time
yeah,
and date
no,
to
we
meet
don't do
up."
that. Although, like, it's been cool. Just a lot of conversations have led kind of directly to Bible studies. We use Bible talks and
Yeah,
discussions and things
yeah.
like that as kind of a vehicle to create Bible studies. Um, but these conversations
Mhm.
has been cool because I've been able to just set up Bible studies and lunches and things just on the spot there with people. So yeah, I've enjoyed it, talking and just having genuine conversation with people. We're praying. It's great to be part of a team. That's connected, that's rooting and cheering each other on, right? And so we're praying for you guys there in Bend, and for God to be doing some great things here across the Northwest.
Hey, family, thank you for watching this teaser video. If you'd like to listen to the entire interview, check out the podcast link in the description down below. Thank you.